What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today's video is part of my Small Brand Sunday series where basically I am showcasing indie brands that I think deserve a little bit more of the spotlight. And today we are talking about a very special one called Painted Polish. So I've got two collections to go over with you today. I've got their fall collection, which is called But First Coffee, and then I also have their Halloween collection, which is called Fright Night. So if you haven't heard of Painted Polish before, they are a US based indie brand, but they are available internationally, and all of their polishes are 5 free, meaning they are free of 5 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish, and they are also cruelty free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. And I've been following this brand for a long time, and to me they seem to specialize in these really beautifully curated color sets. More specifically, they tend to do a lot of monochromatic sets where all of the polishes in their 6 polish collections will be the same color but different degrees of saturation or different brightness, and all of them will have something different going on in them. So one of the collections that I'm sharing with you today is one of their monochromatic sets. In their But First Coffee collection, they're all shades of brown, but they're all really different and they all have different types of glitters and flakies in there. And most of their polishes seem to be in the classic indie crelly formula, and that basically just means that the polishes reach full opacity, but they're sheer enough that you can see layers of glitter and flaky through them. So they're really awesome. If you haven't experienced them, this is a great brand to check out. And they actually do really gorgeous scattered hollows as well, which I have a few of them to share with you today. So let me just dive into the swatches first, then we'll talk a little bit more about pricing, availability, and my thoughts on the brand in general. So roll the swatch footage. So as usual, I am going to be using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I'm using the Orly Bonder base coat. So I'm going to start off with the But First Coffee collection, and the first shade in that collection is called Rainbow Roast, and this one is a medium light cool toned brown crelly base that is absolutely packed with mini and micro hex glitters, and all of those glitters are in just a whole rainbow of colors. And honestly, this was incredibly impressive. As soon as I started applying it, I absolutely loved the formula. It's so smooth and creamy. Because we have that crelly base, you can actually see the layers of glitter through it, but it still managed to give me full opacity in 2 coats, and the formula was just so easy. Next up we have the shade I Love You a Latte, and this actually looks like a similar base color in the bottle, but it is a deeper medium brown crelly base, and again a little bit cool toned, leans a little bit on the pinker side, and this one actually has flakies within it. So we've got little gold flecks, and then we also have multi-chromatic flakes that shift from blue to purple to pink, just depending on your angle. So they look pretty much blue on camera, but at different angles, when you move your hand around, you can see all the different colors, and it is so stunning. Again, really nice coverage in 2 coats, looked super beautiful, and just a really nice coverage of those flakies. I didn't have to fish around for them or anything. Next, we have the shade Matte About Mocha, and side note, I absolutely love when brands say the finish in the name of the polish, because otherwise I might have not realized that this was matte until I applied it. But as you could guess from the name, it is a matte finish polish. It is another cool tone brown. This one actually leans a little bit into that like purpley brown kind of color, and it is absolutely packed with gold flecks as well as mini hex glitters, and together it just looks so beautiful. It does dry down to this matte finish. It is opaque on me in 2 coats, but I found that this one was slightly more sheer than the others I had tried so far, so if you have longer nails than me, you might need a 3rd for this one. Moving into the deeper browns, we have this shade Liquid Love, and this one is a nice, super warm, super rich, deep brown, and it is absolutely packed with fun stuff. We've got multiple different kinds of multi-chrome flakes in here, so you basically just get a whole rainbow of color, and this one I would say is a little bit more of a jelly formula than a crelly. It is a little bit more sheer, even though it did give me full coverage in 2 coats, but you get to see a lot more of those glitters through this formula, and it also has that super squishy high shine that I love with jellies. So again, really easy formula, super beginner friendly, and it looked gorgeous in 2 coats. And the final two shades in this collection are the scattered hollow ones. This first one is called I Like Big Mugs. It is a super rich, warm, deeper brown that is absolutely packed with a silver holographic glitter, and it is so much fun. I ended up doing 2 coats and I loved the way that it looked. You can see just how sparkly this was. Even before I moved my hand around, it was so sparkly. It had that nice jelly-like formula again, and I really loved the coverage in 2 coats, but looking at the bottle, I feel like I could have made the color a little bit deeper if I had done a 3rd coat. So kind of fun. You can choose how deep you want that brown to be, and it is again just such an easy formula to work with. And last but definitely not least, we have the shade Dark Roast Dreamin, and this is actually the same formula as I Like Big Mugs, but this time we are going in with a deeper brown, a little bit more of a neutral brown instead of that super rich warm tone. And again, such a stunning shade. It's such a deep color and it gave me such nice coverage in 2 coats. Again, you can see it's so intensely sparkly, and again, just so beginner friendly. I feel like for the amount of glitter in here, I am just absolutely baffled, because I feel like scattered hollows aren't usually this absolutely packed to the brim. So I feel like a lot of people don't give scattered hollow enough love because it's not as in your face as linear hollow, but this is very, very rainbowy. I love it. So here is the full collection. We've got the 3 lighter shades on top, we've got the deeper shades on the bottom, and I love how they took one color, brown, and managed to make so many different shades of it, and each one has its own unique thing going on in there. I just think it's so much fun. When I recently reviewed the China Glaze I Don't Give a Sip collection, I mentioned that there was another coffee collection that I had that I thought did the assignment much better, and this is that collection. I just think it's so much more fun. I love the different colors. I also appreciated that they leaned a little bit on the darker side, whereas China Glaze very much focused on the milk and cream portion of the coffee. So I absolutely love this. Can't get enough of it. Now let's move on to the Fright Night collection, which was their Halloween collection, but it's still pretty for any time of year, honestly. First up in that collection, we have Ghoul Squad, and I can't actually tell. It might be a white base, but it could also be a very, very, very light purple base. And within that base, we've got a lot of fun going on. We've actually got black and purple flakies running throughout. So I absolutely love a white crelly. There's something about it that reminds me of like confetti cupcakes or frosting with sprinkles on it. I actually thought this looked super gorgeous in 2 coats. There was a little bit of visible nail line, which does soften up when you use a crelly finish, but I know not everybody is into that look, so I also did 3 coats just to show you what that looked like. And again, just a very easy formula, very easy to work with. I love the color combination of this. I feel like this works for literally any time of year. Moving on, we have Children of the Candy Corn, which, let me tell you, that name made me cackle for like 5 straight minutes. But this one is definitely a white crelly base, and then within that base we've got gold and orange metallic hex glitters, and this is just such a fun color combination. Of course, it is the candy corn colors, but it also feels like such a perfect November kind of color. I think it's so much fun. I feel like it gives me all the fall vibes, and it actually ended up being super opaque in 2 coats, so I didn't even need a 3rd for this one to cover up that nail line. Next, we have the shade Pick of the Patch. This is actually what I'm wearing in the intro and outro of this video, and if you watch my shorts that I do on YouTube, I post my what I wore this week manicures, and you will see this one in the sun and in the shade if you're curious to see it at more different angles. But this one is a really intense orange crelly base that has black, light purple, and green flakies running throughout. I have to say, I think this one has a little bit deeper and more of like a November orange than it looks in the bottle. I think it looks a little bit brighter, but I absolutely love the color that it ends up being on the nails. I think it looks so intense. It's such a unique shade. I wouldn't have expected this color combination to work so well, and I also just absolutely had to see what it looked like with a matte top coat because I love shades like this with a matte top coat, and I think it looked super awesome. So definitely love this one. And then we have another orange. This one is called Orange You Scared, but this one is a little bit more of like a corally tone. So there's a little bit of this reddish undertone going on. And this one was so opaque, let me tell you. It actually covered up my visible nail line in the first coat, but with crelly polishes like this, I always like to do more than one coat just because I like to get those layers of glitters or flakies or whatever it may be. In this case, I actually didn't even realize this until this voiceover, but it's the same flakies as in Pick of the Patch. So we've got the purple, the green, and the black. It looks so different somehow, which I think is fascinating that they managed to just change the base color and make the polish look entirely different. So of course I had to mattify this one as well, just out of curiosity, and I think it is gorgeous. And then once again, the final two shades are the Scattered Hollow Jelly formula. This first one is called That's the Spirit, which I don't know if there's any other 90s babies here, but does anybody remember the show Rocket Power? Because there was always this one guy who would be like, "That's the spirit," and that's what I think of when I see this name. But anyway, it's a really beautiful medium gray base, and it is absolutely packed to the brim with holographic sparkle. You can see it just is like a glitter party on the nails. I love that this gray is just a little bit warm, and I feel like this is going to be such a perfect winter shade for me as well, but I appreciate that it's warm enough that it doesn't gray out my skin a little bit, you know what I mean? And last but definitely not least, we have the shade Witchful Thinking, which is a Scattered Hollow Black Jelly. And I was actually really curious to see how this one would perform, because whenever I am working with a polish that I have the color from a different brand, I always like to kind of pit them against each other, but I was so impressed with this. The coverage was very good. I ended up getting that full black color on my nails in just 2 coats, and it was so smooth and workable. And again, just absolutely packed with that holographic sparkle. It looks like a beautiful, very intensely starry night sky, and with a shade like this, you can literally wear it any time of year. So here are all of those shades together, and I actually really appreciate that they're kind of in little pairs here. So we've got the 2 white crellies, we've got the 2 oranges, and then we've got the 2 scattered hollows. I just appreciate when brands do that because it makes it easy to kind of skittle them or do a little accent nail with one color. But all of the shades are really pretty. Let me also show you all of the polishes that I reviewed today. I don't think there's any overlapping similar kind of colors, but just so you kind of get the idea of what they all look like. So here that is. I didn't put them in the same order. I kind of tried to go in color order for which colors were similar. And honestly, this is making me want to do so many Skittles because I think all of these shades work so well together, even being from 2 different collections. I think they end up playing very nicely together. So yeah, those are the 2 collections from Painted Polish, their fall set and their Halloween set, and I am absolutely in love with this formula. I think this is so incredibly beginner friendly and easy to work with. I would actually go so far as to say this is probably the easiest crelly formula that I've used before, just because the polishes are very thin and they're easy to apply on the nail, but they're also pretty opaque. So for me, they reach opacity in 2 coats. I actually can't think of a brand that the formula is similar to because it feels very different from the other brands that I've used before, but I am very impressed with them. I think they're all super self-leveling. I think they're all super easy to work with. And even though a lot of these are very glitter heavy, I didn't find myself needing multiple coats of top coat in order to smooth them out. I found that they smoothed out really easily with 1 layer of top coat. So yeah, just overall very impressed with them. And in terms of the actual colors, I absolutely love them. I think they do really unique combinations between the base color and what's in the base color. I absolutely love seeing all of their monochromatic sets because it's so interesting to see all the different ways that you can make one color nail polish. Like in this case, there are so many different ways that they made one brown nail polish, and I just think that's so fun. But I also really loved their Halloween set as well, and I think all of these polishes work well enough together that you can use them together as like a Skittle manicure. So all of their polishes come in 13.2 milliliter bottles, and they do have a wide flat brush that has a rounded tip, which makes application super easy. And on their website, most of their polishes retail for $12 USD, but I noticed that they can range between $10 and $13 USD, so some of them might be a little bit higher or a little bit lower. But I will link their shop down in the description. They also also offer discounted sets, so if you purchase an entire collection, it is at a discounted rate. I believe it's $65 USD, so that's really awesome as well for those of us who like to collect full collections. But yeah, I've really been enjoying Painted Polish, and I love their colors, I love their formulas. I'm excited that I finally get to share it with you in a small brand Sunday video, but I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts of the brand? Have you tried them before? What's your favorite polish by them, or what's your favorite full collection by them, because you know I like collections? And if you haven't tried them before, what do you think of them so far? Do you think you'll give them a shot? Let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. If you're enjoying this series or my videos in general, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps me and lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. And of course, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon, my royal astronomer Amanda M, as well as my cosmic admirals Rocket Man's daughter, Paula, Ken, and Rosie. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Pookie Bear, and Pookie Bear wants to know, what's your favorite Halloween movie? I would say my favorite movie that centers on the theme of Halloween is Hocus Pocus. That is a movie that I love to watch every year for Halloween, and I just think it's a really cute movie. I've loved it since I was a little kid, but I do actually really enjoy horror movies as well. So in terms of horror movies that I like to watch around Halloween that aren't necessarily Halloween themed, I really love The Shining. I loved the book. I love the movie. I know Stephen King does not love the movie, but I personally love it. I feel like this is a hot take, but I love The Ring. I think that is probably the scariest movie I've ever seen, and maybe that's because I first saw it when I was like 13, and it scared me. And Ryan's actually never seen it before, and I'm just trying so desperately to get him to watch it with me this season, but he is not on board because I've talked about how scary it is. But I know a lot of people don't think it's scary. I just think it's terrifying. But yeah, if you have a favorite Halloween movie that you want to share, leave it in the comments. We can chat about it, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!